Hello, friends. Welcome to Rise and Shine live stream. My name is David Trotter. I'm the founder and publisher of Awaken Magazine, and it is great to have you with us. Each week on Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern, we take time to hear from several of our executive contributors from Awaken Magazine and give them an opportunity to share their wisdom, their story, and their experiences around a particular topic. And I get to learn from them each and every week. So that's super fun for me. Today, we are talking about your message matters, how to use your voice to inspire change, and really talking about self expression through writing and speaking and sharing your truth. So, today, I'm really excited to have with me Jenna Lee and Laura Muirhead. And we were also going to have Diana George with us. Unfortunately, she's not able to make it. So, we will have her on a future live stream. So, Jenna and Laura, welcome. Good to see you guys.
Good to be here.
Ooh.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk for a moment. Let's just begin by giving each of us an opportunity to briefly introduce ourselves and share about how we serve the world in some way. So, Jenna, tell us who you are, where you are in the world. I know you serve clients anywhere, but
Yeah.
it's always fun to know where people are geographically.
Yeah, I am in Arizona, so sunny state of Arizona.
How hot is
And
it today?
how hot? Oh, yeah, I gotta you call me off guard. It's probably gonna be in the hundreds somewhere.
Wow.
Somewhere. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, just this time of year. And so I am an Akashic Enlightenment practitioner. I do energy work. I channel. I work with all different energetic modalities. And I'm the host of Erotic Spirit Podcasts. And when I tell people what I do, I usually tell them I help guide them back into the remembrance of themselves, and by providing presence, by really being really present with someone, can help guide them back into that space, whether that is through the energy work. But ultimately, we're all healers, so giving someone that chance to just see things that come in through the sessions and allow them to step out of those spots and guide them back into the presence. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jenna. Great to have you with us.
Yeah.
Laura, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are, and how you serve the world.
Hi, I'm Laura Muirhead. I am in New Jersey. We are a little bit cloudy and not hot today, but we're starting to have fall weather. So I am an international speaker, best-selling author, and the CFO of our family's multi-million-dollar business. I'm also the creator of the Queen Code program and the Queen Code Oracle card deck. And my heart is in helping women trust their voice, set boundaries, which I call personal policies, and realize that they can lead with both strength and soul.
Awesome. Great to have you with us, Laura. And if you haven't met me before, my name is David Trotter, as I mentioned, founder and publisher of Awaken Magazine. And my passion is to help amplify the voices of conscious leaders, healers, and coaches so that they can spread that love, healing, transformation, and awakening to the world. And so we do that, of course, through the magazine and live streams and books and all kinds of fun experiences and in-person events. So today, as I mentioned, we're talking about this idea of utilizing your voice to inspire change. And that doesn't have to mean our audible voice. It could be writing, speaking, creating things, even filmmaking. That's something that I've participated in. Those are all ways of using our voice. So I'm particularly interested in just beginning to hear a little bit about your experience on the first time that you remember using your voice and it got you results that you desired. Right? Because that's really what we're talking about, using our voice in order to get some sort of result. And maybe it was like when you were a kid or a teenager or 20, I don't know, like when is the first thing that comes to your mind? You go, oh yeah, I used my voice and I got results that I wanted. So is it something come to your mind, Jenna?
Yeah, I think for me, probably the biggest thing would be when I started speaking out in like a public forum where I was in my business, and I remember getting like downloads on this is what the lecture would be about, and this is where I'm going to go with it. And initially, I would kind of be really, I was a little nervous, and a little nervous or a lot nervous. And I kind of would say things like, oh, like, why me? What do I have to say on that? And so there was a switch at some point where I remember I was actually doing it and I was actually there and in that space. And then the gears start clicking because I started to just see people out there resonating with it. And then something else switched inside where I said, wow, like how I feel. I feel empowered to share. Even though I was, partially channeling, partially telling my story, I'm like, wow, like I'm not even doing this for like my own validation of my own worth. I'm just like, wow, this is like I got to just be me here, nothing else but be me and share what means a lot to me and where I've come from and what spirit wants to share too, just being that vessel. So yeah, it's when I really started coming out in the public space and some of the lectures that I started doing. Yeah.
Mhm. Thank you. Wonderful. How about you, Laura? What's the first time you remember using your voice and having a result you wanted?
Well, I think that there were times growing up that I used my voice definitely for different things to help, do things that I wanted to do. But the one I want to share with you was when I was in my early 20s, and I had been laid off from a job that I had, and the employer wasn't going to pay me for the days that they owed me, vacation time and days off that they owed me. And especially back then, it's hard to speak up and it's hard to stand up for yourself. And I actually took that employer to the labor board. It was actually out in California, and I didn't even know that was a thing at that time in my life. And somebody said, "Well, you should stand up for yourself." And so I did. I stood up for myself, and at one point, one of the people who worked there was a good friend of mine, and she was related to the owners, and she said, "Oh, they're so mad at you for taking them to reporting them to the labor board that you're not going to get paid." And I was kind of like, "Well, watch me." And when you know you're right and you speak up for yourself, I think it's really important. And I did. I won against them. So I think that was an important time for me to realize that, yes, we need to stand up for ourselves.
Mhm. I think about um, all of the times that I pushed through, like you said, that discomfort that I'm being judged by this. Perhaps somebody's not going to be happy, or maybe there's a downside of me speaking up. But then when I got the results that I wanted, that was so reinforcing to go, oh, wow, I am powerful. I am
Mhm.
so powerful. And I think ultimately that's what, when I think about encouraging leaders to use their voice, is once you get that taste of getting the results that you desire,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I am really powerful. The things
Yeah.
that come to my mind, just as you guys were talking, I was like, oh, what comes to my mind? For whatever reason, asking for my first camera. Photography's been a huge part of my life. And so I remember my grandparents, I asked them for a camera for Christmas when I was like 14. And I got that first camera. And that opened up a whole new world for me. And it was like, whoa, I just asked for something and it came. Because I wasn't the person that was the kid that was always asking, like, can I have this? Can I have that? That wasn't me. I think about, um, let's see, utilizing my voice. The very first time I preached for the first time, my dad he was pastor of a church, very small church. I was 18. I got an opportunity to stand in front of these 25 people and give a message. And it was the worst message ever. It was horrible. I still have it on cassette tape, which I will probably never listen to it, um, and I didn't get the results that I wanted. But what it did was, as I started using my voice, I started learning how I uniquely uh, could use my voice, could
Mhm.
prepare to use my voice, and saw the different results that I got based on like my preparation, because I know I was different the way that I use my voice. So I want to go into that specifically, how you learned how to use your voice. But before we do that, I want to talk about how you use your voice now. Like,
Mhm.
what are the ways that you utilize your voice in your current world? You mentioned that a little bit when we talked about how you serve the world, but like, how do you see your utilizing your voice right now in this context, Jenna?
Yeah. So for me, a lot of it is on empowering people to see their true self. And a lot of that comes with like how do we see ourselves as whole and see ourselves through that healed way. And so through a lot of the things is, or one of the ways is through social media, through online presence. I show up as me. I don't sugarcoat things. I just come out and say what is on my heart, and being really authentic there. I also share a lot of my story and my experience through the podcast that I host as well.
Mhm.
And really, a lot of the experience or a lot of the healing that has happened is really important to me. But I say, like, even if one person heard it, that then they can see the work that they could do when they share their story, right? It's an impact of how deep you can go, even just with one person. The deeper you go, the more that thing spread within them, then you don't know where they end up too. And so being able to really just be open in front of people in those capacities and share what it's like to just be in front of people. And it's okay if I don't, if I say something that's a little silly or weird, and it's like, this is just me, guys, I'm just here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, so obviously social media and podcast are two big ways, but what I'm hearing you say is that authenticity and showing up as your real self, and
Yeah.
then if if something doesn't come out quite right or something's a little silly, it's like, hey, that's being me, and that then empowers others to be themselves. Did I
Yeah.
get that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about how is someone going to, like, that light, that shining, that just gives someone permission, not that they need it, but they need to give themselves permission,
Mhm.
because sometimes we will hold back. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, just being like that way in front of, you know, everyone as often as I can. That's the biggest thing that comes through that I think of for that. Yeah.
Wonderful. How about you, Laura? What are the ways that you are currently utilizing your voice?
Oh, well, I completely agree with Jenna as far as authenticity and, individuality is huge. We're the only ones. Like, how many billions of people are on this planet? You're the only one. So show up authentically as yourself. And I think even like what you're saying, as far as sometimes if you do a Facebook Live and something goes sideways, it just shows that we're all human and people, I think, actually connect with that instead of us being perfect all the time. But as far as me, I one of the biggest ways right now that I'm using my voice is through my authorship, through the books, contributing to Awaken Hearts, contributing to the Hear Us Roar series, writing my own memoir. That was really big for me and was challenging as far as putting my story out and being authentic.
Mm.
Um, Parts of that story, I argued with myself for a long time about writing that book and sharing my story out in the world. But since I've done that, uh, amazing things have come about. Doors have opened, including being part of Awaken Magazine and Awaken Hearts and being here today. And also, again, also through my podcast and sharing other people's stories of my podcast is the same as my book. If anything happened on the way to my life, and I love hearing other people's stories of how they met the unexpected twists and challenges in their life and came out really, well on the other side. So all of that, just and speaking now, now also speaking globally and having that opportunity to share my stories and connect with people and hopefully inspire them again through my writing and through my stories and speaking.
Wonderful. I'm curious about the process of feeling okay, feeling empowered, feeling like you're standing in your power in order to utilize your voice. So many people are nervous about, oh my gosh, I could never do video on social media, or oh man, sharing my story in a chapter in a book like Awakened Hearts or something. I just don't that I'd be so vulnerable. What would people think of me? I mean, there's a million thoughts like that people have. What process have you gone through to feel comfortable to utilize your voice in these ways? Or did it just come natural and it was no problem? Like, what about you, Laura?
Definitely not natural. As far as the first the first chapter that I wrote as a contributing author, I wrote about some of my childhood experience, and that was so challenging. That was really, really challenging for me. And in fact, I I was on the verge of like, no, I can't put this out there. I can't put this out in the world.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good stepping stone for wanting to, when came time to write my memoir. I knew I wanted to write my memoir for years. It just was there was an argument about, with putting so much out into the world. And
Argument with yourself.
yes, argument with
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
Just me arguing with myself. um, but I think that it's important to have really good mentors with you. I know Karen Weaver. She is amazing, and sometimes I've heard the saying, borrow someone else's courage or borrow their bravery, and sometimes that's what you do when you have people behind you. Joanna Hunter is another really good mentor that I work with, and when you know that you have people behind you that believe in you, you borrow their belief in you for a minute. But also I think that you don't have to jump in all at once. Actually, Joanna Hunter was the one who said, "Hey, why don't you do a podcast?" And I was like, "What?" Like, that's a that no. And then I did it. Like, you do what feels aligned to you, and then I did it, and I love talking to people and hearing their stories. And to me, it's nice because the spotlight's not on me for that. It's on them and their stories, and I love that. And also, um journaling, energy work, and I think that really huge is gratitude, and making sure that you can shift from a why me to what now, with seeing things in a different light, and having gratitude. So all of those things. But you can take small steps, maybe do a little short Facebook Live, which is not that easy. If for people who do it, it's not always easy to just. It sounds, oh, just jump on and do a live. No, it's not easy to start that way, but you get more comfortable as you go along. Just like anything you do, just like learning to play the piano or anything, practice and take baby steps, and go all the way. Go as far as you want to go for what feels good for you.
Beautiful. Jenna, how about you? What have you gone through? What process have you gone through in order to be able to show up authentically?
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question because for me, it ties into a lot of the modality that I use myself, but that I started out with myself and getting into the root, the shadows of the why. So, like a big thing with sharing voice is being seen, right? So for me, whether it's one person or many people, but looking at like, okay, these are the areas where I felt that I wasn't seen, right? And this is kind of going back to things in childhood, whatever it is. It could be in school, it could be family, it could be society. And there were roots to the reason behind it. There were roots to saying, hey, like I wasn't seen, or when I did use my voice, this was maybe the repercussion, right? I mean, different things come in for different people, but I mean, very relative to me and my journey and my inner work, and feeling safe enough to do that as well. Coming into a space where I can just share and be myself and not being afraid that something is going to happen. And so doing the inner work there, being seen. And the other thing that really jumps in is like my value. I would have an attachment to like success or failure of what the outcome may be of putting myself out there. So doing the inner work to see, I was attaching value because that's what I learned. Right? I learned that this voice, if I said things that were made sense or were really took it into light, or things when I was younger, that was the reward, when really it's about showing up. So it's really dismantling some of the illusions around value and oh, I'm not, my core worth is I'm not valuable enough to share something here, and getting into the core of like that why. Those pieces were really integral, and going through all of those, and really making sure my nervous system felt along the way, like how to tune in, how does that nervous system feel? So if I was speaking in front of people, I always get in the body because of a lot of the things I've gone through. I get in and see like, how am I feeling? So get into presence. And if I feel the body, because I've done the tools, I've done mindfulness tools, getting into the senses, being present within the body. And if I notice that things kind of feel off, I use tools like breath work to get into presence. Most likely what's happening is there's some story replaying in my system, in my body or my mind, that is not true. So how do I get into the truth of now and express my true self from that spot? And I those are kind of the main things that really come to mind, and it seems to work out pretty well.
Wonderful. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
I have I love how you guys are going into the interior world. And I have those are all things super important to me in my journey as well. But also, one of the things that's important is I recognize that anytime that I'm showing up, whether it's in a public speaking situation, a podcast, a live stream, getting ready to record a video, creating something, whatever it is, and if I'm experiencing anxiety, stress, overwhelm, generally, I recognize that the focus is on me and my performance.
Mhm.
So I'm concerned about, oh, what are they going to think about me? Am I doing it perfectly? Am I doing it just the right way? Who's going to, all of those types of things. Really, that's all self focused.
Yeah.
And for me, what's been a huge help is to move toward service, to move toward others focused. So it's like, well, why am I even doing this? Whatever it is,
Mhm.
why am I doing this Rise and Shine live stream every Wednesday? Well, okay, well, the focus is not on me and my performance and like me looking good. I want to do a good job, but the focus is on those who I'm serving, right? Those who are watching this video, and you guys. I'm serving
Mhm.
you by creating this environment for you to share your wisdom. So then the more I'm focused on others and the core result that I'm looking for, it seems like for me at this stage in my journey that the other things start to fade away because I'm more focused on whatever the end result is. Some people have tried to ask me along the way in my journey, oh, so you're an author, right? Oh, you're a marketer. Oh, wait, you're a filmmaker. Oh, wait, you're a speaker. It's like, no, none of those things matter to me. What matters to me is the end result, whatever I'm trying to go for in that moment. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I've produced and directed 4 films, but each film had a specific result that I was trying to get. I just happened to utilize film in order to try to get that result. So my process that has been all of the things you guys talked about, super important. Okay, do I have value? Am I showing up authentically? I'm recognizing my worth? Yes, yeah. Okay, I've got to deal with all those levels. But ultimately, is this about me or is it about the people that I'm trying to serve?
Mhm.
And when I shift it to the people I'm trying to serve, those things tend to at least take it, the edge is taken off a bit. So I don't know. Does that make sense or resonate with you guys at all?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about whether this is an interesting play on words, whether you think that the messenger chooses the message or does the message choose the messenger, right? So both of you guys have a message that you are bringing to the world. Did you choose that to share with others,
Mm.
or did the message somehow choose you along the way? What are your thoughts on that, Jenna?
I want to say both, but
You can.
yeah. 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 Oh gosh, that's so good. For me,
And I guess at the core, the question is, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, why did you choose
yeah.
to become an Akashic enlightenment reader? Why are these messages of authenticity, of remembering who you are? Why does this even matter to you?
Yeah, and the thing that I think about is like the message of transformation. So if you want to talk about like this seeing one's life completely transform and to see like what to see where I was and to see the darkness without seeing light, without seeing the spaces of hope, and to just see one's life completely shift where I mean, I live in states of like happiness all the time. And that message there is something else out there for us when we do the work, when we get out of when we, go through the weeds, that message is really important for me to share. So you can say that that message is choosing me, but it's based on like just knowing from where I was to what it could be and what it really is when we step into present moment and release all that isn't ours. That's the message that just is like that lights me up.
Mhm.
How could I not share that truth? So yeah, hopefully that makes sense.
I love that. How about you, Laura? Do you feel like you've chosen your message, or is that message chosen you?
No, I'm on the same page with Jenna. I agree that it's both. Um, I, I I've had so many different experiences in this lifetime, and in fact, the introduction to my memoir talks um, about before my soul having a conversation before I came here, because I've talked with mentors about why have I had so many things happen in my life from um, from having my house burned down to winning the lottery to finding out that my biological father that I wasn't the man I grew up with. And every there's plenty of things that I've experienced, but in the introduction it talks about me my soul having a conversation with a higher power and saying, "Are you sure you want to? Are you sure you're ready for this lifetime? Are you sure you're ready to experience all of it?" And and my soul saying, "Yes, I'm ready. I want it all. I want the whole buffet. I want to experience it all." And there's a this is part of my belief is that our souls are learning as we go through this life. And so no, I wouldn't have chosen some of the things that I've experienced, but the way that I've been able to navigate those and work through those and find gratitude in each one and experience see them as learning and growing opportunities. I want to share that. I didn't know that that was going to be a message ever. I had no idea that any of this was going to transpire, and that's why I say if anything happened on the way to my life, as a child, you don't think, oh well, let me grow up and have these things happen to me, or even the things that happened as a child. But this is a bigger message somehow, and it is what my soul somehow chose for this lifetime. So we're just going with it, and yes, if I can share my message and inspire others with that, and connect to other people who maybe have something where they say, "Oh yeah, I had something happen to me too," and maybe there's a way for me to even help them navigate through whatever they're experiencing, then yes, that's that makes me happy.
I love that. I think for me in my life, there have been things that have been really clear, like, okay, here it is. Like, this is for you to handle. And then other things that I became aware of and then felt like, okay, this is a choice. I have a choice whether I want to share this with the world or not. Like, my first documentary was on orphans in India. I had done probably at that point 10 trips to India and done a lot of humanitarian work, became aware of the issue of orphans. And it felt like, okay, I've got to draw attention to this issue in the world. And I'd never done a film before, didn't even know how to do a documentary film. I'd been in front of the camera as a pastor doing different things. So we grabbed a cinematographer and a partner. We, went to India, found 25 kids living alongside a railway, filmed them for a couple weeks, and then it got picked up for distribution. It was on Netflix for 2 years, and it was like, what? How did this even happen? How did I get on Netflix? I was doing this documentary. Well, then I began to see firsthand sex trafficking in India, in Thailand, in China, and then became aware of it in the United States. And it was like, okay, well, I've got a choice. Do I want to do something that draws more attention to this, or do I want to just kind of let it go? And it is that, like you guys said, it feels like it's both. It's like some things grab a hold of us, and a lot of times for the conscious leaders, healers, and teachers that we work with, it comes generally out of personal experience. You've had some sort of experience of either trauma and overcoming it, or maybe it's your own story, whatever it is, and then you feel like, okay, I've got to share this with other people. One of the key issues that I see especially in potential authors for Awakened Hearts, or just sharing their own story in the world, they feel like they've got something to share, but they feel like it's not blank enough, right? They're not blank enough. The story's not blank enough. Whatever they bring to the table is not blank enough. It's not unique enough. There's so many people that are out there who are authors, so many speakers, so many Reiki masters, so many Akashic readers, so many
Mhm.
psychics, so many, right? Well, why should I share my gift? Why should I share my story? What would you say to someone who feels like they don't really have anything new to add to the world or to the conversation? What would you say to that, Jenna?
Yeah, I love this question because we all need to shine our light. There's not one person that just one person that makes a difference. And when we all as a collective share our voice, shine that light, all of the darkness just becomes, and I never say it as like a bad thing, like as like get rid of the darkness, but the darkness is met with the light. And so like, yeah, maybe there's that one person that needs to hear what you have to say. I also think of like, I go back to a lot of what you said to you before, David. Like, what is the reason for the share? And it comes back to service, right? It comes back to not being about me. And so when I share, there's like my personal experience and ultimately like being a channel in the vessel. But there is this greater service and purpose that I feel that I've landed here on earth in this lifetime and gone through things, and that's, made it out over here. And this service to shine that light, that even if it's reaching that one person, it's shifting something. And someone will always resonate with, there's always going to be someone that resonates with them. There's like, yeah, maybe, this person is reaching more and they're on a global scale, but maybe someone is like, how could I relate to that person? I have nothing in common. There's always going to be someone that relates to them and what that personal experience is that they're sharing. So it's comes back to service, sharing that light. And as a collective, we all share more, and we're gonna shine brighter as a collective. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. How about you, Laura? What would you say to the person who says, "Nah, I really just don't have like anything unique to offer. There's everybody out there doing their thing. How am I going to make a difference?"
I agree with Jenna as far as all of it. How many billions of people are on this earth? You are unique. The chances of you being born, even being here at all, are like one in however many trillion. I don't know the exact number. I knew it at one point, but it's mind blowing. So the fact that you're here, the fact that you have a story, it's important. And I think that not everyone is for you, and you're not for everyone. So even if your story may be similar to someone else's, if I say my story my way and Jenna says the same story her way, then somebody's going to hear it from Jenna. The message is going to come from Jenna and land with somebody, or from David and land with somebody differently than it lands if I say it. So the people will connect with you. The right people will connect with you. And, some people will be like, nah, I can't stand that, Laura, and so good. Maybe they love Jenna, and maybe they love David, and they'll hear. It doesn't matter. Your story is important. If you feel that that's something that you want to put out in the world, if you feel that that's in alignment with where you're going and what you want to do, then put it out there. And again, looking at it as a service versus, as spotlighting yourself. I think that's key as well.
Thank you, Laura. What's interesting is, as much as I have this deep passion for serving other people, there's also this concept that you guys may have heard. It's like, don't like leave this life without getting your song into the world, without singing that song within yourself. Obviously, metaphorically, we don't want to hear me sing. That there's something inside of us that, okay, yes, it is for service, but there's also a sense of self-expression. There's something inside of me that I just feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. And is it about me? Well, yeah, I guess there's a part of it that is the self-expression part that is about me, but really it's for the sake of other people. I think for me right now, one of the things that I'm wrestling with is, so much of my life has been about like me teaching. I literally have for years stood up in front of hundreds of people. This is in my old life that ended in 2008, long time ago, but was me bringing teachings to the world. And what's fascinating about the Awaken Magazine platform is I've created this in order to help other people share their message. And so I have this internal feeling of like, geez, there's something inside of me that needs to get out, though, in terms of my own message, my own teachings. And so I start wrestling with, how can I do that in the context of Awaken Magazine? I think about right now, I haven't said any of this like to anybody else other than friends behind the scenes, but I have this need inside of me to get a card game out into the world. There's something inside of me that's going, it looks like an Oracle deck, but it's actually playing cards. And it's a game that will introduce people to spirituality that is fun and playful. And I'm like, okay, this is inside of me. That's a way for me to use my voice in order to serve others but in a creative way. It doesn't have to be just podcasting, social media. It doesn't have to be a live stream. It doesn't have to just be a book. There are lots of creative ways in order for us to use our voice.
Yeah.
So I think about all the things that you guys said. It's like, yes, 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 yes. And in the midst of serving, is there this sense of self-expression that if there's something inside of you, how do you get that song out? How do you get that out into the world? Now, here's a question that I had not planned to ask you, but I'm curious about, is the difference between utilizing your voice in order to generate income or utilizing your voice for just the sake of self-expression. Because both can be part of our human experience. And some of us don't need to utilize our voice in order to generate income. We go, well, I don't need to do that. It's just more of self-expression and service. And then some of us wrestle with, geez, I don't, especially healers, coaches, teachers, like, I feel bad charging or utilizing my voice, right? What are your thoughts on this, Laura? Do you have any thoughts on the struggle of that?
Sure. I'm the CFO of a multi-million-dollar business. I don't have to rely on sharing my voice for income. However, I know that a lot of healers and people who do this type of work, spiritual coaches, whatever, struggle with this. I say money is energy, and we all need to. You're still providing a service. You know, back in the day, what did you do? You would go to the horseshoer and say, "Oh, you're a horseshoer, and I need shoes for my horse. So you do my horse, and I will give you. I'm a farmer, so I'll give you the produce. I'll give you tomatoes. I'll give you corn, and we'll do a trade." We don't have that exchange anymore. We have a monetary exchange. So everyone needs to be fed. They need to pay their rent. They need to buy gas for their car. So regardless of what work you're doing, you're entitled to have this exchange. And it is an energy exchange. I don't even know how to explain it, but this is the law of reciprocity. We need to exchange, and we need to have it be, if it's a figure eight, the giving and the receiving, it should be balanced. So if I give to you, then what I receive back should be balanced. And sometimes that doesn't always happen. Sometimes you're giving more, sometimes you're receiving more. Just that's life. But with all of this, yes, you should be paid on whatever level. You should receive money. Money is an energy, and we need it to live. And so, yes, I don't think that healers should be held at a different standard than somebody who is changing oil in your car or doing other work, that a banker or anybody. You're doing work, and I also don't believe that you necessarily have to give a friends and family rate. If they value your work work needs to be valued. And yes, there is a level of choose what you get to choose. You get to choose if you have, okay, here are my free offers. I will offer this and this and this to you for free. However, if we go deeper, if I'm offering more to you, then it'll be this will be the exchange rate. And if I offer even more to you, then this will be the exchange rate. So yes, and even with writing and speaking and doing those things and healing, whatever it is, yes, we should have an exchange rate and get money exchanged for that.
All right, thank you, Laura. Jenna, what is your thought on this? Like sometimes utilizing our voice can be self-expression. It can just feel like, oh, this feels good. And then at other points, like, okay, well, I'm actually needing some sort of exchange, as Laura said. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I love the energy exchange. That's how I would say that as well. And I'll touch on the voice, the self-expression first without income. So basically, right, there is still some sort of energy exchange. What does that look? It may look different. The form is not maybe money coming in, but when I'm self-expressing, I'm receiving some sort of feedback from the world. I'm receiving some sort of filling my cup up, because this it lights me up. I get to express, I get to be me. And that's an energy exchange back from the universe, back from people. And so whether you look at it in that way as self-expression, or without, income, or, I show up and there is energy exchange of money. And what I would say to that is that looking at the relationship with money, right? We can attach our value to like the outcome of money. So when we start to look at what is it at, when we start to break it down, looking at, okay, this is an energy exchange, how I'm able to show up, or if we're putting money into the hands of healers in the world and conscious leaders, where are they spending their money? Potentially vacation, because they worked really hard and they deserve it, right? They may be putting it back into foundations and organizations that, fill their cup up, right? So when we are conscious of, like, on the other side of like giving money to conscious leaders, and not because it's like, hey, they're providing service, they're doing God's work and it should be free. It's like, no, they're gonna use that energy exchange and share it out into the world. That's actually probably very meaningful and very purpose and intention. And that's a very beautiful piece to it. But yeah, there's the energy exchange, and looking at as well, like receiving. How am I, like, a lot of times as conscious leaders, I can say myself, at least speak for myself, I had an issue with receiving. I mean, it was just like, everything had to fall to pieces before I could finally ask for things. So looking at that relationship again with money, and like, what is it though? Like, where am I receiving? And can I look at different points in my life that I say yes to more things, so that when I say yes to money, or if I'm not saying yes to money in an unconscious way, I can be more open, because just the intention of receiving is more open in my heart as well. So yeah, it's like, no matter what kind of exchange, whether it's expression throughout income or with, there's still some sort of feedback loop. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm curious if there is someone who's watching today or via replay and they're thinking, okay, geez, I feel like I need to start sharing my gift, my message, my story in some way, whether it's through an anthology book like Awakened Hearts, or maybe it's on social media, maybe it's maybe looking to start my own business, but I'm nervous. Like, that's part of sharing your message too. What one piece of encouragement would you give them today? Laura, would you mind starting out?
If you're feeling that you want to share your story, be like Nike, just do it. Like, do it. Find a platform, whether it is social media. Social media is a great place to start, because you can, share whatever it is behind this, with your small group, and hopefully that group will grow, and whoever is resonating with your message, they'll give you feedback, and you'll feel more confident and grow. That my other suggestion would be, find a mentor that you really know that you can work with, that will encourage you and support you. And I think that that's huge as well. I know that that's been huge for me in my journey.
And Laura, tell us where people can learn about the Queen Code program, about your books, about your speaking engagements? Tell us where people can connect with you and how you can work with them.
So, my website, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to My Life, is a great place to find all the information. My books and the Queen Code Oracle deck are all on Amazon. All the anthologies that I'm part of, and my personal book. Also, you can find me on Facebook, Laura Muirhead, and Instagram, Laura_Muirhead_. So we share a lot on Instagram and Facebook both. So thank you so much, David.
Yeah. Jenna. Okay, somebody's thinking, all right, I think it's time. I need to get my message out there. I need to start this business. I need to participate in a book, whatever it might be. What encouragement would you give them?
Yeah, I'm laughing because I was hearing the same thing in my head, Laura. I was hearing, just fucking do it. Like, just, sometimes you just take a toe forward and you're like, you inch in and you're like, all right, I maybe just did a post but I didn't put my face out there, right? I just kind of take a toe in, and it goes back to like the embodiment of our true self and how that shows up, and allowing ourselves to acknowledge all the fear or doubt and like acknowledge that, right? Not kind of shove that down, see that come up, and then still move forward anyways is most likely on the other side of it. We were playing out some sort of story in our mind, and once we're on the other side, we're like, that wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been. So I just say take a toe forward, and you'll see that it wasn't as we made it much bigger in our head, and ego was attaching to something. So yeah.
Thank you, Jenna. And tell us, how can people work with you? What are the services that you offer, and where can they connect with you?
Yeah. So my website is myawakeningwithin.com. And I offer different services, whether that's Akashic Enlightenment sessions, energy sessions through that modality as well, different energetic practices that come in, light language and the such. I also offer different programs, a 6-month mirror awakening program, helping people through to empower them to see that we're the creators of our reality and seeing the mirrors of the environment for that. So check that out. That's on the website. I also have attunements as well, energetic attunements, which are basically helping to clear out our space, allowing us to remember the light that we truly hold, allowing us to really shift more into presence. And then I also have a podcast, Erotic Spirit Podcast, that's on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, all the major platforms. Check that out with lots of good content there. And I'm also on social media. So it's at My Awakening Within, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, all of the good stuff.
Wonderful. We'll put both of your websites in the description of this video once it goes to replay. And those of you who have not yet, I encourage you to subscribe to Awaken Magazine. It's absolutely free, awakenmagazine.com/subscribe. We release multiple interviews and articles each and every week from incredible executive contributors like Jenna and Laura. And so I encourage you to go there and sign up for that. We send out emails several times a week highlighting that content. So, Jenna and Laura, thank you so much for your willingness to share your story and your wisdom today. It is great to be with you. And for those of you who are watching, we'll be back next Wednesday for Rise and Shine live stream, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 noon Eastern. Of course, you can watch it, the replay on YouTube. Encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube account, Awaken Magazine. So until next time, great to be with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.